Right, so Angie, could you tell us a bit about yourself and about your background first?
Well, as you can see from my age, it's a bit about myself and my background. It's a long story, but I moved from being an English teacher to being a teacher of English teachers, and then realised that that was a whole different thing, and so I needed to learn more. And then I moved from being a teacher of English teachers to being a teacher of teachers. And, you know, it's a bit like the old adage about big fleas have little fleas upon their backs to bite them, and little fleas have lesser fleas, and so ad infinitum. So that's my background.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your talk, you mentioned the concept of learnacy.
Yes.
Could you please expand on that and how it opposes what we usually think about the experiences that we usually have in feedback?
Okay. Well, learnacy is a term coined by Guy Claxton, and it means, like the other ASSI words, literacy and numeracy, it means the ability to learn. And for me, his argument is that as teachers of whoever and whatever subject, we all need to be concerned with leaving our learners with the ability to learn as our main job, really, because things change so fast, so we can't possibly tell them about everything they will ever need to know. So what we can do, though, is help them learn how to learn the particular subject. And what connection does that have with feedback? Well, I think giving feedback is too often used these days to just mean assessing, telling somebody your judgment on their work. And I think it needs to be much more, well, not, for me it isn't giving feedback. When you tell somebody, you assess. So when you're talking to somebody or writing to somebody about some of their work, I think we need to think about learnacy, and I think we need to think about how we can help them not only learn the particular things that we are focused on or would assess, but how we can help them learn to go on learning, right, whatever it is we're teaching them. Does that make sense? I'm sorry. and the help them learn, I am reminded in thinking about help that I'm not talking in a normal social way. So I'm not going to do it for them. I'm not going to help somebody if I do the assessing for them. They need to learn to assess for themselves. So I need to think about pedagogical help. And particularly for me, a useful idea was the idea of scaffolding. And specifically within that, because people use that term, but again, I'm not sure they're thinking specifically about the scaffolding moves. What does it mean? It means we need to share, or the goal for the learning needs to come from the learner. It means that I need to break that process down into steps, the process of learning, and guide them through the process of learning and doing it. It means I can give hints, it means I can explain things, but only when and if they're needed so that the learner can be successful. So it's actually quite a complex idea, but in my talk I tried to give a practical example of how we can do that if we're trying to support a teacher after a lesson in learning from the experience of teaching that lesson. And I gave the 5 steps and what I might say to guide them through the process so that they come to their own decisions and their own judgments on their own work. It didn't need me. I'm guiding them to do the thinking.
Right. Thank you. And so you've mentioned some things, but what are some key factors to bear in mind for mentors of novice teachers?
Key factor to bear in mind for a mentor of a novice teacher would be, well, that's a good one. You're not there to give feedback, you're there to support them in learning to learn from their own experience and those of others. So that's number one. Number two, it will be frustrating because it will take time. Good mentoring takes time. You can only go at the speed of your learner. Think about Guy Claxton had another lovely quote which I adore: you can't put down stepping stones for someone to find without first knowing where they are. And how do you come to know where they are as a mentor? Usually by the emotions your mentee shows you, because that will give you an idea of what they're ready to work on, what they're willing to work on. So it's the how do you feel is a really important question at the beginning of a mentorial. So how do you feel? Excited? Oh, good. What makes you excited? What did you notice that makes you excited? Or, oh, depressed, that was awful. No, hang on. You know, what did you notice that makes you say that? But they're in a place of being ready for that to be a starting point for something they could learn about that day.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very
It's a
welcome.
pleasure listening to you.
Thank you. I talk too much, don't I?
No,
I'm
you
really
don't.